So we know that a 500-pound bin sublimates a pound an hour. So every day, how many pounds of ice goes into a gas?
24.
Exactly. Nailed it.
Engineering degree.
So yeah, it's a really transparent business model. I refer to it as, there's doing business with cards down and there's doing business with cards up. I'm a cards up kind of guy. I don't want to run and control a multi-billion-dollar company with a bunch of employees, and I'm an independent spirit. I don't want to do that. So when Deborah and I talked about this, you got to have equipment to do this work. You got to have the right equipment. You got to know how to use it. And the conversation at the kitchen table is, this one's like, I don't want to sell all this stuff. I don't want to do all the paperwork and book all the sales and everything. So we were fortunate and got introduced to Obsessed Garage, Matt Mormon. I knew of him. Probably 3 or 4 people that we both know attempted to introduce us prior to last March. But the slug, Tommy F. Yeah, that's supposed to be here today, it didn't make it. I only give him a free pass because his daughter's birthday Saturday, so okay. But he introduced us officially, and I wouldn't say the rest is history, but we're making history. And I want this to be something that belongs to you guys, and that we're growing and gaining knowledge and experience from one another. We're going to constantly try to refine and test and do things here to bring better products to market, but I don't want to sell the products. I want that guy to sell the products. So with no further ado, Mr. Mormon, would you please come up?
Sure.
Matt Mormon.
I didn't know I was making a speech. I wouldn't have come. Can I sit down?
Yes, absolutely, please. So I'm going to give the mic to Matt, and so you give us a little spiel about how you felt when this first started and we built our relationship. And I will tell you, the last thing I'll leave you with before I hand it over is, of all of the business relationships of consequence, and it's consequential, this is the very first no stress, no hassle business relationship, and one of the larger dollar volume relationships. What do we have in writing?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. This for the live stream, is that what this mic is for?
Yes.
So, I had found out about dry ice through vapor homing, right? So I learned about vapor homing, and I've been friends with Tommy F. Yeah, for a few years. I met through Adam LZ. And I had no interest in, I don't want to do it. Right? How do I just pay someone to take care of the car? And so I got my E36, which is a 96, beautiful car, but it wasn't perfect. And it still had the Cosmoline and all that stuff. And so that's when Tommy's like, you got to get with this guy, Scott. And so I was interested, how can I pay Scott? How can I pay him to clean my car? And we can make a really cool video doing that. And I had no idea that there was a subculture brewing. Right, and so when I think of detailing, I think of it as a subculture. It's who people that detail. It's who they are, right? And so now I think dry ice can be another subculture. And just think about how big detailing is, and how much it's grown in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And so I saw this thing when Scott and I started talking. We hit it off immediately. There are very few people that you meet that are like Scott. I've met, I would say, at least 200 other YouTubers. And I'm all excited. Every time I met one of them, especially the first 100 or so, I'd meet them because I've met an equal. I've met an equal crazy person. I've met an equal obsessed person. I've met an equal who really loves whatever they're making videos about. And I've 100% of the time been disappointed, because most of them are full of crap. Most of them are very charismatic. They are great at crafting and also gathering humans, which I'm terrible at. I'm just good at telling it like it is, but I love the stuff. I love the pursuit. I love that air compressor more than I like anybody in this room, right? and so I met Scott, and although he's more charismatic than me, we had that same kind of thought process around, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to chase it to the nth degree. And so when even just the evolution, and all of you guys have been following Scott or in the Patreon group, just the evolution that I've seen just in the last 6 months or 8 months. I mean, that's why the Bitcoin conversation is very timely. Dry ice feels very similar in that you guys are early adopters, and I thought there were going to be like 2 people here. And so I've already envisioned sitting back there. I'm like, I bet you in like 2.5 years there will be like 1,000 people in a room like this somewhere at the convention center. Scott will make it happen. So dry ice to me is one of those things that when you look at how you could build a career around it, how you could build a business around it with very little cost. And I don't know how many of you saw our live stream where we talked about the business side of things and how you should beg, borrow, steal in order to get, especially if you don't have direction, if you don't have a clear direction, or if you have a business where this fits, how are you not borrowing? You need, what do we figure, 70, 80 grand to start a business, could start generating $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year in direct attributable profitable revenue is there in what you can go to whatever college you want. You go to Harvard, there's no guarantee you're going to make $400,000 or $500,000. Right. But you go to Scott's School of Dry Ice, and like that, it's incredible how this technology, if you want to call it that, or this idea of cleaning gunk on the bottom of fancy cars could generate a lifestyle like most dream of. It's pretty cool to see. And so that's why I wanted to get involved. And I already have the distribution model. And I don't want to do it. I just love the gear. I love the air compressor and the machine. I mean, that machine is awesome. And I can't wait for the big one. And I shouldn't buy one, but I'm probably going to get one just for the heck of it. It's going to sit there and look pretty in the corner. But
you remember the last podcast, what we did at the very end, where you did some juxtapose, or like you said,
a hypothetical.
Okay, I'm 18 years old, or I'm 23 years old. I got a BMW. How did that go? Something like that.
So I posed. I said, "So okay, Scott, let's say I'm 28, I haven't gone to college, I'm floundering around, trying to figure out what my life direction is. I'm making $38,000 a year doing something I frickin' hate, and I don't have any money. I got but I have an M3, and I have a $1,100 a month payment, and I just figure out how to make that happen. How do I start a business? How do I then, how do I get a big air compressor and a machine and figure out how to doing something I hate and get to play with amazing cars? And how do I do that? I don't know where do I get 80 grand? How do I make that happen?"
And so you remember the email I sent you?
Yeah.
This is the guy.
That's awesome.
Brian Vincent. So tell us your story. Why are you here? And
so he wasn't the guy. This is hypothetical, right? Like I just threw out that hypothetical story, but he's the real embodiment of my fake story.
You tell us what happened in your head when you watched that podcast. Okay. Hold the close mic. Hold the close mic, right? Hold the mic close.
Yeah. My name's Brian Vincent. I'm 22. I flew down here from Wilmington, North Carolina. And early October, I think the podcast was. I've been following Matt for about 3 or 4 years. And never met Scott before or heard of him, but on the podcast, was obviously introduced to the whole dry ice concept. And towards the end, Matt created this hypothetical, 28-year-old, has a girlfriend, not sure if he wants to marry her. He's driving around.
I was pretty detailed, yeah.
Mediocre BMW.
Scott's looking at me like, "What are you talking about?"
You're like, I'm getting kind of specific here, but but I thought of this hypothetical situation, I was better off than this hypothetical person, so why not give it a try?
So where'd you get the money? How do you make this happen?
Well, tell him what you did. You sent me a note first, like in the middle of the night. He sends me an email.
So I emailed both of you separately, similar email, but to the money. Mm-hmm. I made some lucky investments in crypto. So I put that up as collateral to buy the equipment. Mm-hmm. Now I'm kind of just playing the waiting game until the equipment gets to me. But
well, he's got that handled.
The smaller equipment.
It's the bigger stuff.
Couldn't pull 6 figures yet, but we'll get there one day. We're trying.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So why that's so important and dear to me is you know, he's listening because of you and what you've done with your career and your life and your business. He's inspired by you. He's inspired by the group after I had a chance to sink my teeth into them and share with them, you know, what's possible and talk about you guys that have success. And, you know, it takes a special person to see all these things and put them together. But the pieces have to be there. And so one of the pieces we're lacking so far is this click one button, which you would have loved to have seen. If you'd have gone to the site, Obsessed Garage, and said, oh, there's a trailer with all the stuff I need. Click one button, and I'm in business. That's what we got to work toward.
Yeah, so that's what Tommy's here. So Tommy's head of product development at Obsessed Garage, and part of I think Scott and my skill set is the ability to be able to put together a system. Like I always have like the question was like, well, where'd you get the money? Like, what? Give me the real here. Like, how are we going to do this? You know, what fittings do I need? You know, how much does that cost? Then show me how to put it together. And then how am I getting the ice? And then how do I take care of the ice? How do are we calling it ice? Or, you know, when we get in trouble calling it evaporate. Just don't say evaporate around Scott because he loses his mind. Sublimate. Yeah. So what we're going to transition toward, what we're working toward, is I want to have an end-to-end solution, and you know, various versions. So we'll have an end-to-end solution for the Evo. You'll have an end-to-end solution for the big machine.
Or 30.
We'll have also like the ultimate. We even talked to FIAC and I lost my line.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, how do I wake it up?
So the goal here is to be able to provide a solution where you know exactly what you're getting, you know exactly what you need, you know exactly.
We got better.
Yeah, you know exactly what you'll have to invest in order to get the machine that you'll need to do all the things that Scott's teaching. And all the things that all of you guys collectively as a group are coming up with. Like one of the things that Scott, that resonated with me, he said, well, when you get your machine, be careful because one of the things I just did here recently is I thought there was a bug on the windshield and I started hammering down on it and it cracked the whole windshield in half. Just like little tips like that and how to hold the thing and all the things that you guys are figuring out, I think is where this whole, you know, the Dryce idea is really going to provide extreme value. And I think that if we can get to the point to where, you know, we have these end-to-end solutions, it'll just make it so much simpler. So you guys can focus on marketing, focus on finding, you know, customers, focus on doing the job, and then hopefully hiring people to do it so that you don't have to, so that you can work on the business, not in the business. I mean, I think that's what everyone's goal, you know, would theoretically be at some point, is that, you know, I know Rex really well, he works like a machine. At some point, he's going to fall apart. He's probably already getting close to that. And so at some point, you have to make that transition from I'm going to do it, and into I'm going to create it, or I'm going to you know, work on the business instead of in it.
It's a bit of a challenge, you know, when you've kicked something off like this, a new division of an already existing business, to take time out, you know, every week and be on the Zoom call that we record, and everybody gets the benefit of hearing the people that are contributing. That's priceless. I mean, it's really a big part of what I think is special about this. And I mentioned earlier this morning that, you know, I credit my inspiration for building a community is Randy at Bring a Trailer. I mean, he built a community that then contributes to the benefit of the platform and the experience of buying and selling cars, you know, collector cars. And so I could think of nothing better than to have a group of people that are passion-driven and aligned to accomplish the same thing, to get to know one another. I will tell you that in the 80s, when I started going to wholesale auctions, and some collector car auctions as well, we were at Meekham's first auction in '88, a big part is breaking bread with people, not during the auction. You know, you're done with the auction, you go out to dinner, you know, you hang out, you know, like what we've been doing for the last few days. This was my inspiration for Dryce Days and why I wanted to do it. You know, you guys are looking one another in the eye, you're breaking bread, you're having a drink with one another, you're hanging out, you're learning about, you know, you have a connection. You're much more likely to assist and be a part of someone's path and their career and their life if you can associate and build a relationship with them. I'm honored to be associated with you guys. I want to be associated with more. The only thing that I would say to you is it's natural to be nervous about competition. And we could talk for hours about it. You could talk for hours about it, but the bottom line is your competition is the person in the mirror. Just ignore it. You are your own person. You create the highest level work like Mark. I'm going to achieve the highest level possible and build that reputation. Deborah and I have functioned in a very competitive space for 40 years successfully because of the people that have invested in us, like you, and we've honored them in our expression to try to pay it forward and do what we can. Those moments where you're like, geez, I'm going to have to suck it up and take it on the chin here. Those are the character building moments. Those are the things that you do so that the guy says, here, take my $40,000 boat and store it for me because I trust you. So, what I would say is embrace the power of the community. That's all I want you to try to, as we build and grow and we have more revenue, we have more opportunities to do things like this. Probably the largest collector car magazine in the world today is the Haggerty's Drivers Club. So we got a full page ad in there. And when you go to the website, there's no picture of me on my website or on the Dryce website. It's the map where you guys are. We want people to see where you are and to be able to connect and get to you as quickly as possible. And that's our role. And we're going to explore every way possible to always make sure you have access to the best products and services and techniques and collaborate together as a community.
You said it. I got nothing
All right,
to say.
we're good. So we're going to have some lunch. We're going to shut the live stream down and have some barbecue.
Oh, yeah, always. Right, I don't want them taking my wheels off. Well, now I have my own machine. But that's why I bought the machine, just for that. Just because I don't want to do that.
Tires, right? I mean, now the problem is just
I'm working
getting
on it, yeah. When I was, when I started at Merrill Lynch in my 20s, I wanted to get out of the office. Now, I worked hard, but I had to cold call. That's how I found clients. Because Merrill Lynch, you don't like say, here's clients, you manage their money. It's here's a desk and a phone and figure it out. So I was doing that job because I knew that if I did that, I could make some money. But my whole goal every day was to get out of there. Like it wasn't like now at Obsessed Garage you got to peel me out of there. Like I can't like I don't want to if I have to go to the bathroom I feel like I'm wasting time. But yet when I was at Merrill Lynch I was doing something that I kind of liked. It was enough to motivate me, and I knew there was money at the end. But I never felt like I worked hard because I felt like I was always leaving because I just didn't want to be there. If I was there, it was usually I was excited because I got a result from doing work that I didn't want to do. And so I probably only put 8 hours of work in a day, whereas now I'll put 10, 12, 15, and it doesn't feel like it. And I don't want to quit. And I want to, I feel like forgive me, but I'm here and I feel like I'm wasting time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so why not do something where you get that feeling and then you'll work, you'll chase it. And there's going to be stuff that you don't want to do. Like there'll be that graffiti job that is paying you $3,000 that you don't want to do, but it gets you there. So there's always that. I don't want to have a meeting with Tommy about his future. I want to go play with a polisher, But I've got to do the things that I don't want to do in order to get to the fruit. But if I'm in an environment and I'm chasing something that you're passionate about, then you'll do it infinitely. then the risk is you alienate your friends, your family, your kids, your everybody around you because you don't shut that off ever, and you don't want to do anything else. That's my curse. I don't want to go on vacation. I don't want to go home. I don't want to stop. Right? Because to get past 50%, you need that extra drive, you need that extra push, you need that extra love, and without that, I just don't think you can do it. Like, there's a few people that can do it, like where they can push through that, but I wasn't strong enough to do that. And so that I always felt like the whole time, even though I was out hustling the other lazy people, I never really considered them. Kind of same thing with dry ice. You shouldn't really consider the competition. You should only really be considering, if I can only get 50% in of what I'm proposing or what I think I should do, maybe it's not the right spot, because it should come kind of naturally, And then eventually you'll stumble upon, like I did, where they walk out the door. Imagine it. Just making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they just took it away. They just took it. So I built it over 16 years. And they just said, not yours anymore, get out of here.
That's crazy.
Now, I didn't fight because I didn't want it anymore.
Exactly.
But, man, such a hose job.
You don't get to keep them either because you have.
They took them.
Yeah.
So what happened is, when I left, when you change firms, so I started the channel in 2014. I was making videos, and no one really knew about it. And then in 2000 and I think it was early 2015, I monetized the channel. And so I turned on Google AdSense. And once you make over $100 outside of your normal business, you have to report that to the Securities Exchange. So you have to fill out an OBA, an Outside Business Activity Report. So as soon as I did that, then compliance started learning about what I was doing. And I had been teaching and coaching other young people, said, here's what I think I'm headed toward. I think I'm going to manage people's money that I like by car people, because I'm talking about wax and detailing and all that stuff. That's what I thought Obsessed Garage was. It was just Matt Moorman YouTube. I thought I could find customers that had like-minded, and then I could manage their money instead of managing just regular random people. And so I started sort of telling that story, and it sort of got spread out. And then compliance came back to me and said, you can't, like I eventually told my story. I called it This Is Me. And I told the story of Merrill Lynch and cold calling, and they made me take like half a dozen or 2 dozen videos down. Said you can't talk about, these are trade secrets. You can't say that. You can't say that you have a mental disorder. I said, but I do. It's true. I mean, what do you want me to lie about it? I said, well, you need to keep that to yourself. So they started censoring me. It was polite. They were watching out for me, but they were censoring this because they didn't really understand it. So I left Merrill Lynch, and I went to Raymond James, and they told me that I could do all this. And they did until and I'm going to find the line. It's just what I'm born to do. And so I would only find the line, and I went way past it. And so a year and a half into Raymond James, so when you leave one firm and go to the next, they look at how much business you're doing, how many assets you have, and they write you a giant forward check. Right, and so they basically buy your business from you. They tell you it's yours, but they buy it from you. And so when you're at Merrill Lynch or you're at Raymond James or Morgan Stanley, this is like a hybrid business in that you think you own your own business, but what you're doing is where you're leveraging that platform to like if you're a server, you're not generating any business. You're just taking business that comes in, and you're getting a tip as a commission for that plus a salary. It's their business. It's not yours. They had to generate the lead, right? You're just taking the up. Well, at Merrill Lynch, they didn't give you the customer like the restaurant would, but they at least gave you the platform to sell on. So I could sell mutual funds and stocks and stuff like that. And so I thought I owned my own business because I found my own customers. But the way that the contracts and the way it's set up is they really own that customer, even though they coach you and teach you that say that you do. And so I took the money to go to the next place. The money really didn't matter. I just needed to go to the next place so I could continue on this path of creating Obsessed Wealth Management, and I could just manage. I don't care about selling stuff. There's no money in that. I'm just going to get clients in wealth management. And so when I left, they wrote me a 7-figure check. It was life-changing, just incredible amount of money. But there's handcuffs to that. There's an 8-year vest on that. part of the reason they do that is so you don't have to pay all the tax up front. But it's to it's to convince you to bring your practice there so they can make zillions of dollars off of it. It seems like a lot of money to an individual, but to a company, if they do that with a bunch of people, they're only paying you a small percentage of what it's really worth.
Right.
And so when I took my camera in my office to share my life, so I'm sharing my life, day in the life. It's the first time I ever did a vlog like normal YouTubers do. And I was talking about obsessive compulsive disorder. I shared my office, shared about my kids and what I do every day and go to the gym and all that stuff. That's when I was driving Chris's, HOC, is driving his crappy car because I lost a weight loss bet with him. And so I shared 2 weeks of my life. And then that compliance department caught wind because I had some fans in that compliance department said, check out this guy, this is cool. And then the head guy was like, he can't do that. And so then I'm in a room where, because I have this note that they own me, I'm gonna have to pay this back. It's like, lots of money that I'm gonna have to give back. And so they had me by the balls. And so when they did that, they sort of violated my trust and they were dead to me. And so then I just needed to figure out a way to get out of it. I actually sold my practice to another advisor and they said no. And they blocked it and they walked me out the door and they took it. And the only reason they took it, I could have fought it and sued them and tried to get it back. But most of my customers would have said, this guy's tainted. They were telling me all bad stories about how I've gone crazy and how I violated rules and cheated and all that stuff. And so I wasn't going to win. But I sat down and I built a spreadsheet of what could Obsessed Garage do, what could Obsessed Wealth and Obsessed Garage do, what could Obsessed Wealth do. There was no question that Obsessed Garage had much, much greater potential. And so I think I was selling like $280,000 a month at the time. And so I just walked away. And luckily, then they took it. They gave me like a 50% discount on the money I owed. So I didn't owe 7 figures. I only owed mid 6 figures, which was still life-changingly terrible. But that money is what started Obsessed Garage. And so I self-financed it with, basically that. They basically gave me a loan. So it all worked out in the end, but they walked me out the door like a criminal. It's crazy. It's because I said the office looks super 90s.
It is. True.
And I said, but look at how cool my office is. They let me do this. And then the other thing was, I said that it takes me 15 minutes a month to manage a couple $100 million. But I also said, but I've spent 15 years of 50% obsession, but lots of obsession to make it take 15 minutes. And they said, you can't say that. I said, but it's true. And I also said, customers don't freaking call me. They said, you can't say that. I said, why? Don't call me when the market's down. And I said, but call me when you have a child. Call me when you're buying a new house. Call me when you're worried about your business. Call me when it matters, not when the Dow is down 320 points, because there's nothing I can do about that. And if there is, I've already done it. And so those 3 things are what got me fired, because I was telling the truth, and you're not supposed to tell the truth. And so that's what Obsessed Garage is built on, is just tell the truth. I don't like that. I love this, Shoot, Scott was, I don't know if you know this, but he was driving around town with a 100-pound tote of ice to see if it was shippable. And he's got a stopwatch on, so he's driving around to see if he could figure out if we can make ice here and ship it UPS to solve the issue. Because one of the things I was arguing is I don't want 500 pounds a month. I need like 50.
Ice is the hardest part. For like the little machine.
So that's like Scott's gonna figure all that stuff. I'm telling you, he's gonna figure it all out. And it's gonna be amazing. How come he gets the pretty ones? I always got some.
You don't get
jacked
that, do
up
you?
Looking. Oh, these.
That's what I get. That's why we have that over here.
I thought you sold this thing.
Oh no, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, where I'm gonna go with it.
And what is this? This is a maker?
This is a maker.
But you're not making?
Well, I'm waiting for my tank. Got to get my tank. There's 2.5 months lead time to get a tank.
Oh, to get just a
The liquid CO2. So it's about 7 feet in diameter and 9 feet tall.
So they're gonna bring a truck and fill it up.
They fill the tank. The liquid stays forever.
But can't they just bring you the like helium-looking tanks?
Oh no, it takes 2.5 to 1. So if you want to make a pound of dry ice, you got to have 2.5 pounds of liquid CO2. So if I want to make 500 pounds,
Yeah.
I need 1,200 pounds of liquid CO2. A 6,000 pound CO2 tank is going to go there, which is going to enable you to make 3 of those bins at a time.
I thought you didn't like these guys.
I don't.
Then why do you have this?
Because the lead time, everybody's behind. Plus,
No, I mean the cold jet
but
deal.
it's nice to have the competitor's machine, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
Right? Yeah. I want to know.
But there is an ICS machine
Yes.
maker machine that's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what happens? It's very simple. This is where it all happens. This space right here.
Yeah.
So CO2 comes in 3 forms: gas, liquid, solid.
Right.
It's liquid when it's under pressure. You put it in a vessel like that blue tube right there, or this thing,
Yep.
and you pressurize it 300 psi, it's liquid.
Okay.
As soon as you let a little liquid come out of the tank, it turns to dry ice, snow. But it's all powdery in this chamber. So now you got to compact it so it looks like.
And this is it's like
So
a
this
reverse
is
cheese grater.
hydraulic cylinder in here, and it comes out here just like a Play-Doh
So this
machine.
turns it into a block of cheese, and then cheese grates it.
Just forces it out a die,
Yeah.
3 millimeter holes in the end, just like a pasta maker or spaghetti maker.
Yeah.
And it just comes out the end, drops in the bucket. So make 220 pounds an hour.
So this is like a 60 amp 220 or something.
It's 480 volt. Not that
three-phase.
high amps because of the the volts. But yeah, it's 3-phase 480.
I guess look at the size of the motor. In that.
Yeah, you
It's
see the
pretty
motor. So there's no joke motor. I don't really like the finish though. It's a weird
I
finish.
kind of like this.
You
This
like
is my
it?
style here.
But
yeah.
it doesn't.
You
look
like
at it.
freaking.
But look at
chrome.
it. No. It's blotchy. Look at it. It looks like lighting, but it's not.
I like this. You'd want it to be chrome.
We'll polish.
You like this color right here, chrome,
No.
old man.
When you
chrome
see
right
the tank is my style.
there. Okay.
Like brushed stainless steel.
What makes this justifiable if you're doing this all the time to have your own machine make
All
it?
right, so
Yeah.
think about it this way. So I can only get ice once a week.
Okay.
All right, so if sublimates a pound an hour. So every day, how many pounds of ice goes into a gas?
24.
Exactly. Nailed it.
Engineering
So-
degree.
So if I get my delivery on Wednesday, and I want to work 5 days. So I get to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'm off, Monday, Tuesday. So if I want to work Tuesday, how many days between Wednesday and Tuesday?
6, right? Yeah, 6.
Okay, times how many pounds a day?
24. So 6 times 24.
So you're,
124 pounds of dry ice. I have to. if I
132,
want 200 pounds to use, I got to have 2.25, because by the time Tuesday rolls around, that much of it will be gone. So the beauty here is you got the tank, the liquid CO2 is fine, no problem. And when you want to do work, you come in here at 8 in the morning, you go, beep, 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 and it starts making ice. And when I'm all set up in my booth and got my helmet on and I'm all protected and ready to go, I got ice in the bin. It'll keep up with me as much as I need it. And when I'm done for the day, I shut the machine off. I don't have any waste. There's nothing sublimating away. So in the course of a year, I probably have 30 to 40% sublimate into gas.
So the 600 gallon liquid tank.
1,000.
What?
6,000 pounds.
Oh yeah. 6,000 pound tank gets pressurized from your compressor.
So it comes from the truck under pressure. And you can get auxiliary units if you're going to let it sit a long time, but it's pressurized. And it will vent off every once in a while, a very small amount.
So the truck comes in a pressurized truck, and they take the pressurized and put it in the pressurized. They take a little
Yep.
hose and plug it in.
Yep.
Has a pump.
Yep.
Some sort of high pressure
And
pump.
it's actually I told you this, I think, a while back. I did the research. The guy that invented the double wall vacuum tank didn't patent it, and thermos stole it from them in the late 1800s. So they won.
So how much is this?
57,000. Well,
And
when I bought it 3 months ago.
how much is 6,000 pounds of liquid CO2? Do you think?
Well, that's variable.
Roughly.
That's
today.
like asking how much gas is. There's no particular financial savings direct to if I have 500 pounds of dry ice that I made and I buy 500 pounds of dry ice. It's about the same. The parity is about the same. It's like, geez, why would you spend?
It's in the loss.
100 grand. It's the loss and the inconvenience and this.
Well, yeah. So yeah,
And yeah, that's the janky stuff.
It's this right here.
So this is what you get when you're.
This is what you get when you buy ice and it sits and sublimates.
So this is when these guys have three setups, 3 bays going. They've got
They
2
wanna
guys
make
in
their
each
own.
bay working 8 hours a day, and you're going to spend another $100K.
Right.
I like this. That's $200K from each one of these guys. 1, 2, 3. What's our margin on that 200,
Right.
Scott?
No water, just sublimates away. Crazies. But we don't like this. This is what Mark, where's he at? This is what he makes fun of me. He just sticks his hand in his bin. It's just like Colorado dry
What does one of your
snow.
brand new bins look like?
What's that?
What does one of your brand new bins look like?
Oh, you don't want to see that. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Here. I'll
I
show
want to
you.
see what a brand new bin
This is 2 days, right?
We'd probably reject this
Aren't
bin.
we making a bomb?
We'd reject the bin because it doesn't have the strap on it. If it doesn't close and doesn't do that, see all this moisture on the outside? It shouldn't be doing that. That's not closing all the way.
That's how we get them here. All of them.
All of them.
Like that.
They're all that way.
I got one Wednesday like that.
This belongs to an individual.
This mine? Yeah. I would have forgotten it.
All right, so here's another thing. There's no seal at all on this one.
No.
So we're doing well with this bin.
But if but if it's too sealed, doesn't it?
There you go.
Couldn't it
Here,
explode?
honey, grab a scoop for me. Rex, grab a scoop.
Ryan would be bitching a storm up.
Here we go. So see the distance I have? See the sublimation? Here you go. Give me a scoop. Scoop some ice out of there.
That's terrible.
This is 2.5 years I've been living with this. That's why that machine's sitting there. That came yesterday.
Hence the other business opportunity, right?
Yeah. So it sublimates here.
Look, our bins are overflowing.
No, this is what we get.
From air gas?
Our brand new bin, I can go like this and take a handful.
From air gas.
No.
We get it up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But
But I
we
mean,
don't
what's
have
the
this
You gotta
up in-
remember, this stuff is made near fuel and alcohol plants.
But this is made in Georgia too. Didn't have to make it all the
Made
way
in
down
Georgia. So this is what we have to do. First thing we have to do is go through and scrape all this like this. You can imagine trying to get any ice out of this bin without this ice
here.
pick.
I need those picks in quantity.
I got
Scott.
one for you. I got one.
Let's get the
Because
picks.
we don't use the shit.
No, I mean we need these. I want to. Yeah.
Mine's actually bigger. I bought the even longer one. Though.
That's
Is
crazy.
this a real like?
Oh, have you?
It was like
Spelunking.
$90. It's
That
for
thing.
like, yeah. if
There's
you wanna
nobody
go climb
attacking me
Mount
in this
Everest.
shop. You don't come after me. I don't care
I
how
want a
big you are.
titanium. We need to be selling these, Scott. We need to have these available in the store,
Black Diamond.
and then we need to make a video just what you're doing here, and then it'll sell 1,000 ice picks.
They're like $90.
I want one that's 200.
I'm sure we can find a better one.
Yeah.
Still no fun.
You're thinking like a shop owner. I'm thinking like an irresponsible, like guy in his garage wanting all the stuff the shop owners are trying to save money on.
Like, see how it looks like snow?
I
and
know.
it's not
Listen to me.
pellets?
When you live in the Mississippi River, you want crystal clear, like Lake Geneva water, but you have Mississippi River. That's what you get. This
I was
is
wondering where he was going with that analogy.
this is what I get.
That was a long
So
way.
you get 400
You
pounds
take what
of
you
this.
get. The alternative is I could get really no ice and not shoot anything.
You're going to be really excited once
Oh,
you get
I
that up
can't
and
wait.
running.
Yeah,
Once
I
that's
can't
up
wait.
and
That's less than 30 days out. My tank will be here shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
Where's that going?
Right here. We're gonna remove all the graveyard pieces.
How long does it take?
How it's not long. It's vertical, so it's about it's about 8 feet tall and this big diameter.
Inside?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you were putting it outside.
You can't put it outside. No, you can't have anything sit outside. It's gotta be inside.
So but are you
You
legally allowed
could.
to have it inside?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I had to go through. It was a really interesting process to come to that determination because, of course, when you say, "Can I put a CO2 tank inside?" First off, they have to decide what CO2 is.
Because like that was the discussion we had early on that you were asking me like to
Yeah,
try to
I
find
know.
a 1 acre lot to put this
Yeah.
outside near
So-
my shop.
So think about this. So I got some rebuttal. No, I don't think you can put that inside. I said, okay. So, do we have any restaurants in town that have CO2 tanks inside the building?
They have a 6,000 pound CO2 tank.
What does it
now?
matter how big it is? It's 300 psi either way.
Well, the size of the nuclear warhead determines how big the whole crater is.
But it's 300 psi. That's all it is. Whether it's
Yeah.
this big a tank, 300 psi, or 20 feet in diameter, 300 psi, same thing. Yeah. So I just put it in. Yeah. It'd be like your garage door. Did you see your garage door the other day?
Is it in? Is it
It's
installed?
in there. It's in there. No, it's not
No, it's just
installed yet.
sitting
I'm not
there.
going to install it before you have
There's a
chance
lot
to
of
see.
not installed in here. There's a lot.
Well, that's my world. That's what I've
Mad
been dealing with.
scientist.
Yeah.